Amy's not originally from El Paso, but was coming through town, visiting family after having spent a year in Guatemala teaching school. And I think she was going to stay here for a little while and then go further east, I think, to pursue graduate school. While she was here, we got set up on a blind date. This was in 2004. And her aunt, who's a good friend of my mom's, called me up and just said, hey, my niece Amy is in town, doesn't know anybody, he's going to be here for a little while. Would you help, introduce her to folks and show her the town? And, said I'd be happy to, and went and picked Amy up where she was staying. And right when she answered the door, I just felt like there was a great connection. We had an awkward, handshake to hug the handshake. I think I was trying to shake her hand, she was trying to hug me, or the other way around. And then we just laughed it off because it was just one of the, funny things that happens on a blind first date. Got in the car and just immediately started talking to each other, and there was just a great energy there. And I drove from where she was staying on the west side down to the foot of the Paso del Norte Bridge. We got out, walked across the bridge, had a drink at the Kentucky Club, which is this world famous bar that's been in Ciudad Juarez for more than 100 years. And I think the bar has been, I don't know how long ago, maybe 100 years ago, was shipped in from France. It's got all this great history, pictures of boxers and bullfighters and baseball teams. It's where they not only say that they invented the margarita, but where, folks who during Prohibition in the US couldn't get a drink on this side would go over there to the Kentucky Club. It's where I'd like to think that Bob Dylan wrote Tom Thumb's Blues, this great song that starts in the streets of Juarez in Easter time, where maybe Elizabeth Taylor, who spent part of her honeymoon in El Paso in her first marriage, maybe drowned her sorrows after her first divorce, and maybe even where Johnny Cash bought the drugs for which he was busted when he crossed back into El Paso. So all this great history, all these great people who've been there. And Amy and I have a drink. We're sitting next to, just run into a friend, Rodrigo Fernandez, who was there. And we have a great conversation. We go next door to Martino's. We have dinner there. And then we just walk out onto Avenida Juarez. And it's, wintertime. People are kind of bundled up. Just beautiful lighting and music playing. Folks, bands will sometimes plug into just electrical outlets on the street corner and play. And there's folks who are dancing or just standing there listening or dropping a few coins into the open guitar case. Go by the Customs House, which was provided a pivotal scene during the Battle for Juarez more than 100 years ago. And it was also the first place that the President of the United States and the President of Mexico first met in 1909, neither of them needing a translator because they both spoke English and Spanish. And I'm dropping all this history on Amy, trying to impress her. And we then walk over to the Mission of Guadalupe, which has been there for 330 years. And, the first Spanish missionaries to the region built it, and it's right next to a much larger cathedral. And there's a little placita in front of it, and we just sit on a bench. And again, there's bands and musicians and people selling elote and folks, on dates themselves or with their families. Just a beautiful scene, and just kind of taking all that in, and, with a margarita or two in our system. And just, it was really kind of a beautiful night. And remember walking Amy back down Avenida Juarez, back over the Paso del Norte Bridge, and just kind of a beautiful first date. And then we just stayed in touch and became serious. And within a few months, we're engaged. And then within a year, we were married. But that was the beginning of everything, the Kentucky Club in Ciudad Juarez.